Nursing Advocacy for the LGBTQ plus populations by Annika Ludwig. So first we'll start off with the American Nurses Association statement on LGBTQ plus rights in healthcare. And to start with, we'll say that LGBTQ stands for lesbian, gay, bi, trans, questioning population, and the plus includes everywhere in between. So the American Nursing Association condemns discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and/or expression in healthcare and recognizes that it continues to be an issue despite the increasing recognition and acceptance of the LGBTQ plus populations. Many LGBTQ plus individuals have reported experiencing some form of discrimination or bias when accessing healthcare services. Persistent societal stigma, ongoing discrimination, and denial of civil and human rights impede individuals' self-determination and access to needed healthcare services, leading to negative health outcomes, including increased morbidity and mortality. Nurses must deliver culturally congruent, safe care and advocate for LGBTQ plus populations. So part of this is defending and protecting human and civil rights. So this includes recognizing domestic partnerships while in all settings. This can be helpful in including everyone in the conversation when it comes to children and their parents who may be a same-sex couple. It can also be beneficial for older patients who are in an inpatient setting and wanting to see their partner. This can include recognizing that it's not always going to be a husband and a wife. Sometimes it's a husband and a husband or a wife and a wife. And it's important that you don't invalidate their relationship because it may not align with your personal beliefs. So another part is speaking out against legislation that aims to take away rights from the LGBTQ plus community. There are bills that have the goal of taking away the possibility for gender confirmation surgery or hormones for patients because they are under the age of 18. So when working with transgender youth, it's important that you allow them to have the feelings that they feel. If they don't feel like they're right in their body, it's okay for them to feel that because they may not feel like they're truly themselves when they're in the body that they have now, and they may want to change that. There are also bills that are actively trying to take away rights of patients to have gender confirmation surgeries or even get their basic healthcare due to their gender expression or identity. And it's in the Nursing Bill of Rights to advocate for your patients, so you're going to want to advocate so that they can have the quality healthcare that they need and deserve. And there are also bills that aim to only have patients in settings where they are in a group that they may not identify with. This can include not allowing a transgender patient to be in a double room with someone of the same gender as the one they identify with and not the one that they were born with. And then this then makes them stay in either a double room with someone of the same gender that they were born into but do no longer identify with, or having to stay in an individual room. So this also extends to the LGBTQ plus community in the military. So it's important that you condemn discrimination, condemn bullying, violence, and harassment against those who are in the LGBTQ plus community and in the military. It also means to allow transgender military personnel to associate with their chosen gender and to be allowed to fight for their country should they so choose to. It also includes providing better training for those who work with active duty personnel, because you will have people that are not heterosexual that work in the military, and sometimes they need healthcare that is different. They need more information on other topics that some people might not need. Next, we have cultural competency. So make sure you're using gender-neutral language and signage. So this can include in facilities having at least one public restroom that is gender-neutral. It can also mean the world to patients to have signs around the building that speak about equality for all. And this can also include gender-neutral signage. So having signage that doesn't just say like, boys do this, girls do this, it's children can do this, instead of putting a binary on things, because some don't fall within that binary. And there also can be signs about speaking to nurses and providers privately. So this is especially important because sometimes children and even adults, if they're with their parents or if they're with other family members, don't want to talk about certain topics such as their sexuality or gender identity in front of their family out of fear for their life. And you always have the possibility of talking to your provider privately about that. So to make sure that people know that they have that right can be very important. So you also need to make sure to condemn discrimination. So actively seek to support legislation that aims to change sexual education in schools to include that of the LGBTQ plus community. So this includes not only talking about safe sex in general, but it includes talking about same-sex relationships and what sex may be like in that relationship. It also includes talking about gender identity and gender expression, and how those are different things and how they're different for different people, and not everyone who is born into one gender feels like they are that gender for their whole life. It can help with people having less risky sex lives later in life. And you also are going to want to talk about legislation that shows discrimination against the LGBTQ plus population in healthcare. So there are bills that are actively trying to suppress transgender health care, and that's not something that should be happening. Those who are transgender should be allowed to have their gender confirmation surgeries should they choose to have them. So individual advocacy steps is to first look in your workplace, see if they have a stance on LGBTQ plus healthcare. It can be really big, and you can even start to talk to your facility about creating one. You're also going to want to join a nursing association group that actively shares political stances on this. And then you can also show your support online and call your representatives and make sure you vote, and vote for people who share beliefs in the causes that you believe in. And lastly, we have community advocacy steps. So you can suggest diversity training for your workplace that includes the LGBTQ plus communities. And you can also bring it up in your workplace if they don't have a topic or a statement on LGBTQ plus healthcare. It can mean the world to someone that they know that they can go to a facility and they have an active statement that says they will not discriminate based on your sexuality or gender identity. Also, you can ask for a simple, wider variety of magazines, brochures, and posters that are in the facility. This can include showing same-sex couples, those who are gender non-conforming, who are outside of the typical gender binary of male and female. It can also include showing those who are transgender. It just helps show people that it is normal to feel that way, and they shouldn't be ashamed to feel that way. And for future nurses, you need to recognize your privilege. You need to, if you can speak out about it, if you feel comfortable speaking out about it, you need to speak out about it. And you need to know that the way that you have seen things your whole life is not necessarily how they are seen now, and kind of shape your feelings around what is currently going on in the world. You also need to make sure that your facility has a policy regarding the LGBTQ plus community, and speak out if they are still discriminatory or out of date. And then this can also include participating in diversity training that includes the LGBTQ plus community, and advocating for that inclusion in diversity training if it is not already there. And these are my references. Thank you.